Were you banking, I mean, because you've talked about your support base, you mentioned two, unions in particular, the National Union of Electricity Employees, I believe, NUEE, and also NUPENG as well. And it would seem that that is your support base. But the NLC is bigger than just these two unions. It has many other unions in it, even though these people might also be, big members and have a very huge population as well. Were you hoping to just get this votes from those areas and not care about carrying those other unions along?
Well, there was no way I could have emerged through the support of two unions. Even what I'm doing now is not just two unions. I just mentioned the people where we were sitting together and policemen and whatever were deployed. Those are not the unions I mentioned that are my support base. I have more than 18 unions with me, including the key unions. And of course, you have qualitative and quantitative unions. You have unions that even if one of them takes action, this country will feel it. And those are the unions with me.
Mr. Ajaero, Mapo asked a question earlier. Maybe we should go back a little bit. The NLC has its own internal structure, a way of resolving issues. Have you gone through these avenues?
Because the way we look at it before now, I don't think that there's a formal process of resolving issues in NLC. Sorry to say this, but the veterans have tried, to bridge the gap. And they have invited us to a meeting. We met with them. The first president, Hassan Somono, from 1978. The second president, Ali Shiroma. The first treasurer, Ero Phillips, all of them. Associated Joffo, they invited us to a meeting. And we were there, and we were expecting Adams or Shomole. For Adams now to send for Ayuba Wabba, they were addressing press conference while that reconciliatory meeting was on. Where he was making comments about the outcome of the result. And when he came back, he disagreed with the proposals made by the veterans. The first proposal was put on hold the state council elections. Because if you conduct elections in the states, the crisis will deepen. You'll be having two councils. That was the first proposal. He said no. Ayuba Wabba said no. That he got directive from his NAC and he's going to consult. I never got back to them. Then we held election in the states. We now have two councils. The second one was that you should have a joint Mayday. Even if you are not going to say anything, Nigerian workers will see two of you at the podium while we resolve this matter. He said no. The veterans packed their papers and left. Of course, the third one was that we should stop our media outreach so that they handle these things internally. Of course, since yesterday or day before yesterday, he has been on media tour in Lagos. When I came here was just to, clarify some issues. So in all these three issues, I don't know where I've gone wrong.
So now that things have gone this way, what's going to be the way out?
Well, the way out is that everybody should be working towards peace in the first instance, but it must not be peace of the graveyard. I have maintained some level of restraint because of knowledge, because of my knowledge of history. Because in 1988, a similar thing happened. Incidentally, again, between his union and my union, the NLC, where Takai Shamang and Ali Chiroma, in Benin, there were two parallel conferences. And they came back to Lagos when the office was at Olajuwon to take over the secretariat by force. The government, because of that, dissolved Labour. This time around, I have reluctantly refused to go and take over the office in Abuja. I mean it, because if that happens, if I mobilize my supporters and he mobilizes his supporters and we clash at Abuja, the government will take some steps. And then the workers will be in for it. So I have equally tried, during the May Day, rather than two of us drag the podium, I decided to stage my own Mayday in Lagos. There again, the same forces that be said I can't have access to National Stadium, Surulere. I did it outside. So this is the situation, you know, for us to serve the Nigerian workers.
But then if you're so concerned about the Nigerian workers, would it be too much for you to say, okay, you know what, for the sake of the Nigerian workers, carry on, let's see how it goes? Would it be too much to say?
You do that when you are given a mandate? You know, if those forces, you know, because when I used these forces in 2011, when I was vying for deputy president of the NLC, and I say it here on record, the DGSSS said I should not even enter the premises. And that is all about NEPA privatization.
Why would the DGSSS ask you not to enter the premises?
He said this man is a troublemaker. I repeat, he went further to say Nigeria doesn't want people like Ajaero. And I'm saying this for the first time. Of course,
not that you were a security threat.
Yeah, probably. Because of what happened. And up to now, whatever I say what happened, up to now, majority of those workers have not been paid. So how does that constitute security threat when you say pay workers their entitlement?
But what's going to happen if, at the end of the day, authorities decide to recognize him?
Oh, they have started doing that. 24 hours after the election, he visited the DGSSS, which has never happened in the history of labor in Nigeria. Never a leader going to the directorate. And they said they recognize him. So, sorry, my brother.
Do you have evidence for this?
No, but I mentioned to you that he visited, and he's in the papers now. It was reported. And he said he recognized them. The same day, they visited Ministry of Labor. Now, let me say this. We don't have members in the SSS. So, whether he recognizes us or not, he's not remitting check-off dues. Now, if we are playing politics of reconciliation, and somebody is playing politics of recognition, then you go ahead and be recognized. Why I seek my recognition from the workers? Those are the people that can recognize me.
Is your ambition to be president of the NLC so much stronger than your union?
Never.
So why won't you just let this be?
Well, if let me say this clearly. If it is the wish of Nigerian workers, if it is the wish of Nigerian workers and unionists in the country, Ajaero, if you can go and retire, go back to your village, I will do that. Have you gone back to the Nigerian workers and other unionists to say, what is your advice? What do I do at this point? Well, if you look at, my operations all these days, you find out on the 30th of April, I organized a rally, from Yaba to Ikeja. And you saw the masses, you saw the massive support. If at any point in time, from any of these groups, even if you join my group with his group, and they say the consensus is that Ajaero should step down, I will step down.
But Mr. Ajaero, there are reasons why people are leaders. They don't just say, we're listening to the people. Yes, they listen to the people, but sometimes they see far ahead than the people. They see what the people do not see. What do you see for the future of the NLC if you continue in this manner?
Well, I know that the workers have been in great pain. And I know that I have equally represented a tendency in the movement that is anti-corruption. And I repeat. And I think that was where there is this internal and external collaboration. Because even within the NLC, and I have to say it equally on record now, when a certain amount of money was paid into our accounts, I stood up to return their 3 million naira and said, to hell with it. Now that tendency is being threatened. That, this guy is coming to probe us. And what I'm telling you is in the pages of newspaper before now. So That is the group, and I felt that we should do things differently. It can't continue to be business as usual. And at the point I decided to vie, that was the only office left for me. I was already a deputy president of NLC. So it's not like, you know, there's one mad ambition. In 2007, I vied to be vice president. I lost. I never complained. So it's all about election, you must be there.
I'm asking that, you know.
Just a minute, we need to just take the headlines, but we'll come back and wrap this up. Emmanuel Amawa is standing by for the headlines.